This is the Horse Radio Network. This is episode 460 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, Total Saddle Fit, and Sterling Essentials. Hi, everyone. Glenn the Geek here, producer of the Dressage Radio Show, and we're happy you're joining us this week. Reese and Philip have the week off. Reese is heading back to Kentucky, so she's traveling this week. So we revisit an episode from November of 2015 where we had dressage trainer and comedian Pam Stone on. We also had some yam casserole and barn emergency provisions. So that was all on episode number 338, and we're going to replay that for you today. I hope you enjoy. If you'd never heard Pam Stone's interview in the first place, you're going to want to hear this one. And we will bring you that right after this word from Kentucky Performance Products.
He was her first love, the one that started it all. He taught her how to master the posting trot and navigate her first hunter course. They spent hours together exploring the trails and hanging out in the barn. His name was doodled on every page in her school notebook. His coat gleamed in the sun as he met her at the gate each day, snuffling for a treat. From the first time she saw him poking his head out of the stall to the last time she patted him goodbye, he was, and always will be, her everything. This love story is brought to you by Nalox Advanced, providing complete support for a healthy digestive tract, which reduces the risk of colic and digestive upset. The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Call 859-873-2974 or visit kppusa.com to order today.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show. And this is Philip Parks. I'm in some tropical island someplace on a beach, and I don't care. Yeah. That's exactly what he's thinking right now. Yes, he's going, it's Thursday night. Oh, there's that show thing, but I don't care because I'm drunk on a beach.
I hope he and Meredith are, for sure. I can't remember where Philip went on.
I thought he said like Thailand is someplace in Asia. That's all I remember.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Because I said, what? Why are you going there?
Yeah, I said the same thing. And I'm like, geez. And then I was like, man, he's gone for like 2 weeks, Glenn.
I know. So, we went out west for 10 days, out in western United States, that is. And I thought that was an exotic trip. And he's like, oh, I'm going to like Philippines.
Yeah, I think it's the Philippines. Yeah, we'll have to ask him when he comes back. But Glenn, I can't remember the last time you and I just did a show.
I know, but we have a fun show planned, and we have a really cool guest planned for tonight. So
I know, I'm excited you're on with me because I'd be a little nervous for her. I'm just gonna say that right
We've
now.
had a week here of guests. Let me tell you what. We are getting ready for the radiothon. Excuse me, the radiothon that's coming up on the 30th. That's going to be 12 hours live here on the Horse Radio Network. We're having 20 hosts, and it's going to be Dr. Wendy from the Driving Radio Show and I emceeing all day, and we have tons of guests planned and callers. We want you to call in. We're giving away over $3,000 in prizes now.
Wow.
And we want the dressage people to be involved. They're not representing, by the way. We have not gotten one voicemail from the dressage people.
Oh my
so we need dressage listeners to go to dressageradioshow.com or horseradionetwork.com and click on the Radiothon banner in the middle of the page. In order to be qualified to win the up to $3,000 in unbelievable prizes, you just need to send us a voicemail wishing your friends, family, Reese and Philip, whoever, a Merry Christmas. Or you can sing a song, or you can do whatever you want. But it can be very simple, just holiday greeting. And you can record it on your phone and email it, or call our voicemail line and do it. But that's all it takes.
Yes, do it. Come on, everybody. We cannot lose this. We got to win.
I'm really disappointed that the dressage people are not coming out for this. So we need to get represented. We need to get them represented. Everybody. And they can call in. The other way you can qualify is they can call in anytime during the day, all 12 hours, and just tell us about their favorite holiday horsey memory. And if they do that, they're also qualified. The grand prize at the end of the day is $1,000 worth of stuff.
Can I call in?
You want to, because one of the things is the Benefab sheet, the ceramic sheet.
Oh my God.
That's
This thing
worth
is great, everybody.
That's worth $350. That's one of the prizes.
Worth every penny.
Soar No More is giving away 2 half-gallons of Performance Ultra. That's almost $200. Dublin Lifestyle Boots has given away one of their pairs of boots. Those are the country boots.
Yes.
That's almost $300. And then Weatherbeater Freestyle 1200 detach neck medium blanket of any size you choose of $250. That's all going to the grand prize winner at the end of the day. And then all day long, including total saddle fit girths, horse and hunk calendars. We have 6 pairs of Cavallo boots we're giving away all day long.
This is, oh gosh, guys, you've got to call in. This is amazing.
Yeah, we have Smooth Stride riding jeans. We have all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's just all day long. We're going to be giving away, or Zorbine, a pack worth $100.
Wow.
There's some really cool stuff, but you need to do one of 2 things. You need to send us a voicemail ahead of time, get them in by like Thanksgiving, or give us a call live that day. Unfortunately, Reese and Philip's still on her trip, and Reese, you have to teach that day.
I have class. Yeah, so I can't be on, and I'm going to come on in the morning.
Yeah, I think it's going to be around 10 o'clock on November 30th.
Yes, but I do have that I'm sure the kids wouldn't mind. Kids, they're juniors.
She has to put her professor hat on.
I know. I'm sure they would be very happy if I didn't come, but they have a project due that day, so I really do have to go.
You could call in from class and have the kids sing.
Oh, you know what? Good.
That'd be fun.
Good. They have to. They're in my class. They have to do it. So.
You're going to sing on the radio live.
I know. But I'm going to be on in the morning, and I'm looking forward to it. And really, everybody call in, because we have got to represent. We cannot be the show that doesn't represent. That's bad. So.
Well, the reason I brought all this up is talk about a week of guests. We got Pam Stone tonight, who was a comedian. She's been on The Tonight Show. She was the basketball coach, the female basketball coach on the TV show Coach for like 7 years. Wow. She's a stand-up comic. She's been all over the place on TV shows everywhere. And, we're having her on tonight, so that should be a lot of fun. But we just interviewed yesterday, and I don't know how big he is in the dressage world, but I'm sure everybody knows him, George Morris. Yes. George is like the god of horse
He's still,
I don't care what discipline you are, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And he never does radio interviews. Well, Jennifer worked 7 or 9 months to get this booked, and we had him on the Horses in the Morning show yesterday. Jamie did an excellent job with the interview. We had him for 20 minutes, and we didn't talk training. We talked about his life. He was actually on Broadway for 2 years.
No, I didn't.
He was an actor.
That.
Yeah, years ago. He knows all these famous people from years ago on Broadway. He talked about that. He talked about his early years. It was really a conversation that you never hear him have.
Wow. That is super cool. I had no idea.
He talked about his biggest hang-up in life, and I've never heard that from him. Everybody was shocked, actually.
Well, yeah, should we tell?
No, you have to go to horsesinthemorning.com and look at Wednesday morning show. Yeah, not what you expect.
Yeah, you really should listen, because it's really interesting to hear what it is. So we won't spoil it, but
yeah, horsesinthemorning.com. He starts at about 45 minutes into the show. So take a listen. That's Wednesday's show. You'll see it on horsesinthemorning.com. And then to kick off the Radiothon, we just did this interview last Friday because he couldn't make November 30th when we're doing the 12 hours live, but he wanted to be part of it. Another get from Jennifer, and that's Charlie Daniels. And we just got done with his interview and then had to do George. So I was like, oh, geez. But they were both delightful.
That's
I will
awesome.
say that.
I believe it. I believe that for sure.
Charlie was great. So all of that. Yeah.
I know. Lots of excitement here at the Horse Radio Network.
And tonight, Reese is going to do, for a training tip, what better to do the weekend or the week before Thanksgiving than a tip on recipes for Thanksgiving Day? Because who cares about riding next week? Everybody's thinking about eating.
I don't know. I love to ride on Thanksgiving. My sister comes over. Yeah, my sister comes over and we ride a little bit. I mean, I can't say there's any serious training going on, but we do ride a little bit, and it's so fun. And this is actually how I got started on horses. The Horse Radio Network was recipes from Reese.
That's right. So, that is true.
Yeah, I started because I happened to mention in one of my interviews I enjoy cooking. So Glenn snagged
I latched onto that.
Yeah, I latched right away, and we had some funny funny things. So that's how I started here at the Horse Radio Network before we took over the Dressage Radio Show. So hopefully I'm a little rusty, but I think I got it for this week.
Well, why don't we go to our first guest? I got to tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Pam Stone. She has Stone's Throw Farm Dressage, and that is in the Blue Ridge Mountains near Landrum, South Carolina. She's an owner and a trainer, and she's pretty much been focusing on dressage since 1991. Before that, she was a celebrity. She was a stand-up comic. She has performed at the White House, Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Oprah Winfrey, Joan Rivers. She's done many comedy specials on Showtime. She was Showtime. She's won awards for her comedy. She's had a show of her own called the Pam Stone Show. She's also a radio person, a radio host. She actually won a Gracie Award for the best comedy entertainment program, and the Gracie Award are like the Oscars for radio people. Something, by the way, Reese, that we'll never see. So we're never going to see that. But she did. And been on many TV shows, including most popular Coach, which she did for 7 seasons as the female basketball coach that was always arguing with Coach. And she played Judy Watkins on that. So she has all of that coming up. But I found on YouTube some of her stand-up comedy from 1990 when she was doing a military function or a military show. Do you want to hear a little bit of it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's take a listen.
You ever wonder if Johnny and Mr. Red are the same people? I think so. I have no idea. Cool to be here. I did a tour overseas for naval bases. I went to some countries I'd never been to before. I went to Germany. I don't know if you guys have ever been over there. This is the stupidest country. This is a country where they serve you beer in liter-sized mugs and encourage you to drive as fast as possible. Told me there weren't any speed limits in this country. I'm on the on-ramp to the Autobahn going, please, Jesus, just help me merge. Just help me merge. I'm driving some little rabbit golf. Real good idea to drive a car over there. You can bench press, right? I take off. I'm doing 90 in the slow lane. A Schwinn passes me at 180. Get pulled over by the German police. Fräulein, can you walk a straight line? Yes, sir, I think I can. Then you need more beer? I guess it makes sense. You pour a liter of beer in your bladder, you'll be driving that fast just to find a bathroom, man. You're getting out of the way! That's right. But it's good to be here. I recently just turned 30, so I've been thinking about death a lot. So it's, I think about it all the time. It scares the hell out of me because I was watching Geraldo the other day. They had these people on that claimed that they died and come back to life. You heard these people? They all say the same thing. It could be true. They're like, well, first I felt like I was floating out of my body. And then I felt like I was flying around the room. And then I was instinctively drawn towards this bright white light. You know, which apparently means when we die, we turn into moths. Well, here you are, you're living a good life. You think you're going to heaven. Now you'll be bopping your head against a porch light for eternity. Ow, this sucks. Get me out of here.
Anybody that is horse shopped or been to Germany for anything would that, yeah, so
appreciates that. I figured. Well, let's talk to Pam Stone.
Sterling Essentials offers scented natural leather cleaners and conditioners that provide effective care for your leather, containing a special blend of natural food-grade products as well as therapeutic-grade essential oils. They are specially formulated to match the pH of leather. This ensures that your leather is nourished and protected while still being gentle on you and your horse. By providing a natural barrier to protect against water damage, mold, and mildew, your leather can remain in mint condition year-round. Both Sterling Essentials leather cleaner and leather conditioner are offered in lavender, eucalyptus, and floral citrus fragrances. Ask for Sterling Essentials leather products at your local tack and feed supplier, or you can visit them online at sterling-essentials.com.
Pam, I am so excited to have you on the show tonight. I'm excited to have you to talk about comedy and TV and all of that. Reese is excited to talk to you about dressage. So
I mean, this should get me better. How much better does this get?
I know. All your listeners are just...
Horses.
That's right.
Horses and showbiz.
That's right.
It's so true.
Well, I have to tell you, I have seen at least twice every episode of Coach from years ago. My wife and I, we have fond memories of sitting. Matter of fact, she was so excited when I told her that we were going to be talking to you. And we're going to talk about Coach a little bit later, but you had a whole stand-up career. And I have to say this right off the top, and you can write letters to Glenn at horseradionetwork.com. But dressage and stand-up comic usually do not go together.
Okay, so Reese, you're going to so dig this. In fact, you're going to worship at the altar of Auntie Pammy after I say this. I have the distinction of being the first stand-up / actor who ever said the word dressage on The Tonight Show.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, now it was after Johnny. It was when Jay took it over. And so the first time I did The Tonight Show, and he was asking me what dressage was, and I was telling him about it. And, and the thing is, this is such a great show to do, you guys, because, and then you guys, I'm not talking about The Tonight Show, I'm talking about you guys, because no one has ever believed me. The only people that believe the story are other horse people. I never had a burning desire to be a stand-up. I never had a burning desire to be an actor. The only reason I did it was to make money, to be able to train and buy horses and compete at the caliber I wanted. And the deal was, is I was teaching riding in Georgia. I was living in Georgia. I was putting myself through college, and I was waitressing at a comedy club at night. And the reason I worked at that comedy club is it was a 4-hour shift. You clocked in at 7, you clocked out at midnight, and you could make like $50 to $100 a night. And now we're going back to the mid-'80s, okay? Early 80s.
Well, that was good money because everybody got drunk and they would tip you at a comedy club.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's laughing. And so in this club, it was the Punchline in Atlanta, which was the premier, one of the hottest clubs in the nation with only the top headliners. Okay, so if it was a dressage show, let's just say this. If it was a dressage show, it would be a CDI. You'd only see the top people going through. So here I am, this waitress, and I'm in my early 20s, and I'm leaning against the back of the club, and I'm watching Seinfeld on stage, and I'm watching Leno on stage, and I'm watching Paul Reiser and Dennis Miller and Ellen DeGeneres and everybody. And I'm leaning back there with my tray thinking, this just doesn't look this hard. And I know how much they got paid because I would, at the end of the night, when we count out our the money that we had, we knew the managers and stuff, and I knew how much these people were making. And I thought, you know what? If I came up with like 15 to 20 minutes of material, I could be like an opening act because they got paid like $300 a week plus, accommodations and gas money. And I thought that would be a really nice little supplemental income, for board and all that kind of stuff. And then the next thing I knew, it was crazy. As soon as I went up on open mic night, the first time I was ever on stage, I killed. And I've always said if I bombed, I never would have done it again. I would have been too freaked out. But it was like God said, okay, National Velvet, I've been listening to your dreams since you were a little girl. And I'm going to give you what you've been wanting, but I'm going to take you on this weird road to get there, And the next thing I knew, I was like touring with Jay Leno. And then the next thing I knew, I was in California. And every dollar I was making, I was socking away. And then when I moved to California, like a year later, and I was able to bring my horse out a year after that. And then just like 4 years later, I landed Coach, which was a complete fluke that I landed that. And so I was able to train with Marie Myers, who rode in the, like the 90 Stockholm, WEG, the games, and then Jan Ebling for a total of like 9 years in full training on 2 horses, 5 lessons a week, and then competing in Del Mar and the LA Equestrian Center and all that stuff. So, when people say, oh, wouldn't you want to do a sitcom again? It's like, no. I just thought the pilots were Coach when they wanted to bring it back. But the whole reason I got into it in the first place was to make money because I'm poor. I'm not a trust fund baby. I don't have a rich daddy. I don't have a rich husband. And it was going to be up to me to make, those few tens of thousands of dollars to buy like a decent competitive warm blood.
That's funny.
That's why I did it.
Well, I have to ask you, you talk about Leno, you talk about Jay, and we love his new show about the garage and his cars, his love of his life, his cars. He just seems like a nice guy. You toured with him. Is he a nice guy?
He's great. Yeah. Jay really, there's stories that I really can't tell.
Right, I bet.
Yeah, I know. There's a dearth that I can't tell. But he's always, I will say this, because that makes it sound like, we were fooling around or something, which, of course, never happened. He is absolutely monogamous. He's an incredible guy. And he really took me under my wing because I was just starting out. And he would watch me. He would be in. All right, this is how far back this goes. Okay, you ready for this? All right. So he and I worked together for 3 weeks, like in Augusta, Georgia, and where else were we? Charleston, South Carolina, and I can't remember the third gig. But he was working for The Door. Now, this was before he had The Tonight Show. This was when he had done about 25 appearances on Dave Letterman, and people loved when Jay would come on Letterman. And he was really building, and he was like the best headliner in the country. So at this point, he was a big enough draw that he would only come into clubs and work for like The Door. And then the club would make money by food and drink they would sell. He made me stand by the door and count every person that came in, right? So to make sure he wasn't getting ripped off by the club owner. So he would say, he'd say, all right, kid, you stand here and you count everybody that goes in. I'm like, okay, Mr. Leto,
you were Jay's accountant.
Right. So he would watch my set. I would do my little 20 minutes in front of him, which was essentially tall, skinny jokes. That's all I did was because I'm so tall and so skinny. And, and he would critique me at the end of every show, because we were working for a week at a time together. And I always remember him saying this, and it always helped my career hugely. He said, you got to trim the fat out of your act. He said, you got to get to the punchline faster. By the time you get to the punchline, the people don't even care. And he said, in my act, if I don't have a major laugh every 7 seconds, I've got holes in my act. And I was like, oh, all right. Okay. Gotcha. So at the end of the night, then he would say, he would have the money from The Door, and he would say, how many people did you count? And I was like, 150 people. And he's getting paid cash every night. And I would walk in, and he's counting the cash, and he was so excited how much money he was making, which was like nothing back there. And he's sitting at the desk, and he's counting out these 5s and 10s, and he's like, $1,500. I just made $1,500. Can you believe that? In one show, one night. He's like, I used to be a mechanic. I can't believe I'm making this kind of money. And these kind of memories for me are so sweet of when someone like him got $1,500. Well, I mean, to any of us, making $1,500 standing on stage for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's still not bad. No.
Saying, new saddle.
Yeah.
Right. So that was superb. He really always kind of took me under his wing. And then when I got coached, and he got The Tonight Show like 3 weeks later. And he had a book out, and he was at a bookstore in Los Angeles signing copies. And my husband and I were walking down the sidewalk. We were going to go get something to eat that night. And he came out of the bookstore right when we were coming out. And he pointed at me, he goes, hey, I saw you on Coach. He said, and he actually said this, have your people call my people. I want you on like next week. I was like, cool. Okay. So, and then I was, and
how nerve-wracking was the Tonight Show the first time?
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't because I got to go on as a seated guest. The big deal with comic is, you do your stand-up. In the days of Johnny Carson, you do your stand-up, and then you'd nervously glance at Johnny. And if he thought you were incredible, he would beckon you over, and you'd get to sit and talk with Johnny. But generally, they just disappeared back through the curtains. So when I went on with Jay the first time, I went on as a seated guest, and then we talked about horses and stuff.
Wow.
Which was great.
Cool. Well,
how cool is that?
That's really cool. And I don't want to get away from Coach though, because I know it was a job for you to get horse stuff, but for my wife and I, we love that show. So now Craig T. Nelson, and now you actually went back and did a pilot. They are doing a limited series to see if you're going to end up working for another 10 years.
No, I mean, here's the weird thing. So I run my own barn. Okay. So
by the way, for those that aren't sure who we're talking about here, you were the you said it earlier, the tall, skinny basketball coach that was always the antagonist against Coach Hayden Fox, right?
Right. I was Judy Watkins. That was the name of my character, and I was Dauber's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's right, Dauber's girlfriend. I forgot about Dauber.
That's right. So I know. No, it was great. So I live now in upstate South Carolina, really close to the new fabulous Tryon International Equestrian Center.
Oh yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
Yep. So you live in the mountains.
I've not been to Tryon. Yep. Yeah, I've not been there yet.
Asheville.
Reese, when you come, baby, you call me and I will show you around. I mean, it is I'm going to get back to Coach in 5 seconds, but I have to tell you, to be able to live here and know now that we don't have to go to Florida to compete. We don't have to spend tens of thousands and haul our ass down there and our horses and that we have this place like 30 minutes away from where I am. And I'm like very close to the border of North Carolina. It is the most amazing facility ever. And they had me come in for the Show Jumper series, the end of the Show Jumper series, to do color commentary in the audience.
Oh, how fun!
I'm walking around with a microphone, and I have a cameraman. So, you have like 6 or 7 rounds with the horses, and then they drag the ring. And during that time when they're dragging the ring, they have this giant jumbotron up there. And so I would just like walk up. I was like Oprah, like walking up to people in the audience.
That's so cool.
It is so crazy. You go there for a horse show. They have, how you go to horse shows and the food sucks. You're eating some greasy hamburger and throw up right before your class. They have, are you ready for this? They have a sushi restaurant. They have like fine dining there. They have Legends. They have coffee shops. They have incredible tax shops and gift shops. I mean, it is like Disneyland for horse people. It is crazy. Awesome. It is so cool. That's awesome. Anyway, so you are so right. So after Coach, so I'm setting this up by saying, I live in this small town. I live in Landrum, South Carolina, and I run my own barn. And it's I only have 5 stalls, and I have, like 2 or 3 horses in training at a time and students. And, and when you don't have staff, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, we know that story.
Yep, we're all like,
Yep, we know.
Right. So, every morning, Auntie Pam is in that barn, at 6:30, 7 a.m., just like everybody else, like mucking out stalls, turning horses out, grooming, feeding, and then getting ready for the first lesson and blah, blah, blah. And because I train, and I train and teach. And so, so I'm out there just cleaning my stalls. And later that evening, I'm watching TV with my husband in my underwear, as you do, at the end of the day with your beer. And I get a phone call, and it's from my agent in California. It is so long since I've talked to my agent that I don't even recognize the number. I don't even recognize the number. I look at my cell phone. I'm like, oh, somebody's calling from California. I wonder who that is. And it's my agent, and she said, well, guess what? And I said, what? And she said, NBC wants Coach to come back. And I went, what? No, they don't. She said, she said, how Full House has come back and the X-Files, they're bringing Coach back and they want you. And I said, get out of here. They don't want, get out of here. And so she said, yep, they do want you. And so I go from like in the stall, bucking out to like, I pick up my I go to the airport, I fly out there. It's like, it is so crazy. It's like first class air, fly back out there, get there, Miss Stone, limo, the whole thing. It's like,
awesome.
It is so bizarre.
Did you at least change your shoes before you got in the limo? I'm just asking.
You know what I did? You're going to laugh so hard. I can't be bothered to like separate whites and colors when I do wash. So all my underwear is gray, all my bras are gray, all my underwear is gray. Too much information, but horse people were just at the end of the day.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, we get it.
You come in the house and you're like, I just freaking can't be bothered. I just want a clean bra to go to ride in tomorrow. And so the first thing I thought of was like, I got to go get new underwear because I remember when you do a sitcom, you have to do wardrobe. Every day you go for fittings because they're trying to figure out what to dress your character in for the different scenes that you're in. Like if you're in a scene where you're going out to dinner, you got to try on all these clothes. And so the wardrobe girls, they just see you standing in your underwear. And I'm like, they can't see me in this underwear. So, so I went out. So I bought all new underwear.
The glamorous life of a TV star.
Yeah, I know. Right?
It was great. I mean, seeing Craig T. Nelson again and seeing Billy Fagerbakke, who plays Dauber, and he's also the voice of Patrick on SpongeBob. It was the most. Oh,
who's going to... It must have been hard, though. You had to miss Jerry Van Dyke.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I mean, Jerry, I think Jerry probably would have done guest spots on it, but, he's in his 80s now, so he's kind of slowing down his career. And it was just to see Craig and Billy again after 17 years. And one of the scenes they had, it started out in Hayden's cabin, Glenn.
Oh, really?
So, the old log
cabin.
Yeah. they still had the set. They never throw those sets away. So they had the set, and we're walking in the cabin, like picking up props. We're like, oh my God, I remember this. I can't believe this. And it was just, we were crying. Cool. And it was so surreal. So met up with old comedy friends of mine, doing sushi every night, living a life, Ubering here and there. And then, and it's all so cool. So then after that, so I fly home, and then I had to turn around and fly to Philadelphia because I still do corporate stand-up dates. And I was working with Mary Wilson from the Supremes, and we were doing a big convention thing, and we were co-headlining. And we were talking. We went out for dinner, and I'm thinking, I can't believe I'm having dinner with this woman. This is like crazy. And she's talking about, how she grew up in the projects, and Diana Ross. They all came from the projects, and how they all started the Supremes. And isn't it wild the travels that God takes you in your life, and I said, yeah. And I said, man, I was just cleaning my horse stalls and doing my horse thing. And then they called me back to coach, and it's like crazy. And then after dinner, I'm like, no. I go back to my hotel room, and I think, oh, I should check messages. And it's the executive producer of Coach Barry Kemp, and he leaves the message. She's like, Pam, we're all just gutted. NBC decided they're going to pull the pilot. They're not going to air it, or the third episode they ordered. So, wah. So I fly back home, and, the next morning, I'm like cleaning stalls again. And I'm like, did this happen to me? I was like, did this happen?
So did they pull it? It's not going to happen?
It's not going to happen. They paid for 13 episodes. They wrote a check for, we all got paid for the pilot. Only Craig and the executive producers got paid the millions for the 13 episodes. But it was like, I was really grateful for it, because I thought, ooh, new
I'm
horse.
so bummed.
My heating and air went out, so I had to get a new HVAC system. So no horse for Pam.
Oh, I'm so bummed about that. I really am. I'm sorry to hear that.
And we're all like, we wanted a girl.
I know.
Got it.
NBC. I hate NBC.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're like,
You and a few other comedians. So
let me tell you what I was doing, and Reese, you'll laugh so hard at this. So during the day on the set of Coach, because I only had one scene in the pilot, but it was a really pivotal and really funny scene where Craig and I just go at it. And so I still had to be on the set at like 9:30 every morning till 5, and you just kind of sit around and wait for your scene. So what was I doing? Because I'm like, I'm in the money.
I'm looking for horses. You were looking for horses.
Every day, I have my iPad, and I'm on Dressage looking at horse market.
Of course you are. I do that anyways. I'm like sitting in the airport. I'm like, oh yeah, or like do whatever. You're like, oh, let's look what horses we can have. Oh, that's so fun.
No, so I'm back to where I was, with my OTTB, and for right now, this is the first thoroughbred I've had. It's something I'm doing for Dressage today, and Steuben, which sponsors me, which I'm very grateful for, because man, those thoroughbreds are the fastest spooks on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. Yes,
and
they are. From Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Holy cow. I mean, I'd ridden a lot of thoroughbreds, like growing up when I did hunters in my teens and stuff, but they were all seasoned campaigner hunter jumpers and stuff. But this guy that I have now, and it was a project that I write a blog for Dressage Today magazine called Remember to Smile. And I said, you know what? I said, damn it, this sport's getting so expensive. The average adult amateur in dressage is a 42-year-old married woman. And I said, it's unless you're a trust fund baby, you just don't even feel welcome in the sport. It's just so expensive to ride competitively. And I approached the editor of Dressage Today, because I've been writing for them for years. And I said, let's do a project, damn it. I said, give me a year, and I bet I can find a competitive dressage prospect for $1,000. And I'll have a year to train him and then show him. And I got this incredible he was just at the end of a 3-year-old year from Rerun Racehorse Rescue, and big uphill thoroughbred, and I love him to death. He's super, but man, he is the fastest spook I've ever ridden. And I've got to send you guys the video. It's like 9 seconds, where it is so fast. It's like there's no warning. There's no click. There's no tension in the back. There's no stiffness in the neck, you just come out of the corner, and suddenly you're 100 feet the other direction.
We have a name for those in the driving world. I'm a driver, and I have a Hackney pony that bolts. It's
my gosh.
yeah, and you're in the cart, and all of a sudden he's gone, and you're going down the road
Oh
on the
my
wrong
gosh.
side. But we call them baby bolts, so we call them BBs. They're baby bolts. We've gotten from very large bolts now to baby bolts. At least now I can get them under control in about 100 feet. So, yeah.
That has to be the scariest thing in a cart ever.
When it's scary if you're in a field. It's really scary if you're on the road. The first time he did this, I had driven him for quite a while, and he had never bolted before. But the rustling noises in the woods, like there's horses coming through the woods, he just loses his cookies.
That's scary, yeah.
So he took off into the other side of the road, and thank God there was nobody coming, because it would have been bad. It would have been bad.
Holy moly! And the ear net, like the fly nets, don't help him.
Well, we're now experimenting actually with noise suppression systems. Yes,
noise suppression.
Yeah, we're experimenting, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's
Pam,
so freaking fast.
Yeah, and we were just talking off air. When I went to the Thoroughbred Makeover Project, it was essentially a comedy show. It really was.
Oh my God,
it was. Oh yeah, I mean the material you could have gotten in that 3 days for a comedy show. I mean, really, it was kind of that way. And I don't know about. I'm sure everyone else feels like this who owns a barn or it has a group. Really, sometimes things happen at the time. They're not funny, but we all have those stories of looking back. And I was thinking, I was like, on some level, we're all kind of comedians, because there's some silly stuff that happens in barns. And, somebody falls off. And here at the farm, of course we make sure they're okay and whatever. But then it's relived. It becomes this huge story. And we always do champagne, so it's becomes even more comedic as this is going on.
There's really nothing funnier than watching somebody fall off. As soon as you know they're okay. There's nothing. It's just the best comedy that there is. I mean, I hear you. And, and I've had warm bloods forever. I've always had Dutch horses. And, when they spook, it's like slow motion. It's like reverb. It's like, whoa. They just kind of come around like a big rig on a freeway. And these thoroughbreds, I'm going to send you the clip. It's so funny. And, I'm not trying to do like a shameless plug of Steuben, but had I not been in that Steuben Genesis dressage saddle, that sucker just, man, I think that's the only way I was able to stay on.
Well, we love Steuben, by the way, so you're good. You're good with that.
Awesome. Well, someone sent me a study that said that someone was wearing a GPS thing in their pocket when their horse spooked on the side of the road, and it recorded the speed of the horse's spook to be 54 miles an hour. And the point of the point of the study was, so when you drive past a horse on the road, just keep in mind that's how fast that they can spook and pop out in front of your car. And when Forrest, my horse's name is Forrest, when he spooks like that, all I see in front of my face is a blur. I mean, it's gotta be 55, 60 miles an hour.
Yes, and that is fast.
Well, Pam, I hate to say this, but we're plain running out of time already. Will you come back sometime?
I would love to come back. Let's do it again.
All right, let's do it
Deal.
again. All right.
Fantastic.
We're going to do it again right after they call you back about Coach, and they pick it up, and then you've gone overseas and bought your new fancy horse.
How cool would that be?
So cool. I would help you shop.
A $900 thoroughbred.
Pam, I'm telling you, I am the best. I think horse shopping is the best. It's horses and shopping combined. I'm good at it. I'll go with you.
Yes. I'm right with you too. And you know what? I'm a devotee of Carl Hester's, and I truly believe what Carl says. It's a mug's game when you start writing those $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 checks. All of his, I mean, he paid 5,000 euros for Vallegro. He buys all his horses as 2-year-old. He never spends more than like $5,000 in euros, and it's just it's training. It is. So, but I do want to invite everybody to my Facebook page, which is Stone's Throw Farm Dressage, because I always do put up funny videos and stuff and cool articles and stuff. So keep up with me there.
Do you miss one last question, and we'll put the link to that on our Facebook page and also our show notes for today's show. Do you miss stand up? I know I miss. I had an acting company for 10 years. We did kind of a Benny Hill version of A Medieval Feast, and I played a king. Yeah, I played a king for 450 shows, and I got to tell you, Pam, I kind of miss people bowing to me.
Well, there's no reason they should stop.
I know.
I still do stand up, and I do corporate stand up. I can't do the clubs anymore. I just can't take it. But I do corporate stuff like the one that I just did with Mary Wilson and stuff like that. And that's one thing that I love doing with the Tryon Equestrian Center up here. And so, holler, Wellington, holler when you're
there. You go.
Your diamonds and what is it? Your diamonds and demons fundraiser and stuff. You're not going to get a better stand up because I can incorporate horse stuff in it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well,
I'm
know what?
I got a horse shop.
We have a lot of listeners. Thanks, Pam. We appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Have a great, great night, guys.
Thanks, Pam.
This tip brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, the shoulder relief girth that Reese and Phillip both love. And here's why.
The saddle fit solution you have been waiting for is finally here. TotalSaddleFit.com is proud to introduce the Shoulder Relief Girth. This strategically shaped girth actually moves the girth line of your saddle back over 1 inch, thereby freeing your horse's shoulders from the saddle. Traditional girths pull saddles up against a horse's shoulders and often over the top of the shoulders. The shoulder relief girth's recessed ends allow for the billets to buckle into the girth farther back to give your horse unparalleled freedom of motion. We are so certain that your saddle will fit better and your horse will be more comfortable that for a limited time we are offering a 30-day, 110% money-back guarantee. If you are not totally satisfied with your shoulder relief girth, send it back for a full refund plus 10% of the purchase price. Don't wait. Order now for the best saddle fit solution available.
At TotalSaddleFit.com. Visit TotalSaddleFit.com. Well, the tip of the week this week has nothing to do with dressage and everything to do with our bellies.
Yeah. Yes. High five. I'm ready for this week. I don't know. This is like I love Thanksgiving, actually. It's my favorite holiday and a little bit of time to sit down and sit with your family and, think about all the things to be thankful for sure. So actually, Glenn, I had to call my mom on this one because my favorite, really, we love the turkey. And Travis has started frying a turkey.
Oh, yeah, I do that too.
Oh, my God, it's so good. I was very concerned the first time it happened, and I made him do it like in the driveway, like as far from the barn and the
that
shop.
Was a wise move. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I almost burnt down the house with it the one year.
I could believe it.
We were doing it at my brother-in-law's. We were in the garage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Connected to the house because it was snowing, so we were doing it in the garage. And what happened was I got the oil up to the 350 like you're supposed to, and you have the big, long thermometer in the oil, and it tells you what the temperature is. It was perfect. So then I get the turkey and plunk that in, and I put the thermometer back in, and about half an hour later we come out, and the entire garage is filled with smoke.
Oh.
And I go over and we're like, what the hell is happening? We pull the turkey out, and of course it is like burning. And we discovered that the thermometer, which still said 350, was stuck into the turkey. When we put the thermometer back in, when we put it back in to see what the actual oil temperature was, it was 525, and it combusts into flames at 540. We were 15, 20 degrees away from burning the house down. So, yes, be careful.
Oh, my God.
Be careful. We saved the turkey, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So I was definitely... Did you really? How was that possible?
It was really crispy, good skin on the outside. I can tell you that. Wow. There's my piece of advice. Do not stick the thermometer in the middle of the turkey. That's not the idea.
The cold turkey.
Yeah, not the idea.
Well, yeah. So we do a turkey, and my mom does just a beautiful spread. I do the pumpkin pie, which is my contribution to, because usually I'm feeding horses and trying to get organized. So the pumpkin pie, I do it, and then I can do it on Wednesday night and take it over. So, but that was not what I called my mom for, because pumpkin pie is relatively easy, or at least I just do the recipe on the box. I mean, not
on
on
the can.
on the can.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And it's great. So I'm like,
throw
why
some
would I
condensed
change it?
milk, a little bit of sugar, and you got a pie.
Yeah, and you're good to go. And some pumpkin pie spice. So, and I even tried to make my crust, and that's good. But to be honest, I didn't think it was that much better than the other one.
we always buy it too. It's like, all right.
Yeah, so I make the mix and put it in. But my favorite actually is my mom makes these colonial Thanksgiving yams, and they're awesome. So I didn't know how to make them actually.
Do you have to find like 300-year-old yams?
Oh, 300-year-old yams. Exactly.
Okay.
Don't just cut the mold off. You're totally good.
Okay, good.
So you start with, this is what you need. You need 1 8x8 casserole dish. You need 6 large yams peeled, or for me, because I like to double the recipe because I love it so much. My mom, I think she doubles the recipe. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/2 cup of honey, and I prefer local honey. We have good local honey here. And then you need the juice and zest of 1 orange. And this is where it gets good. 1 stick of butter. So
it's a Paula Deen recipe.
Basically a Paula Deen. I didn't say this was a healthy Thanksgiving recipe. No. But really, honestly, I just let it rip on Thanksgiving and just, that's why I don't.
Why not?
I don't mind doing the barn on Thanksgiving because I feel like if I at least do stalls and ride some horses, then it equals out. Not really, but you know where I'm going with this. So preheat the oven to 350. Spray the casserole dish with nonstick spray. That's actually an important step. If you forget that once, you will never forget it again. So then you're going to boil the peeled yams until they're tender, fork tender. You're going to drain the yams and place them in a large mixing bowl. You're going to mash until they're smooth. Then you're going to fold in the other ingredients: the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the honey, the zest of the orange juice, and the butter. And then you can plate the mixture in the casserole. You can either plate in there, and my mom bakes it for 45 minutes at 350. And then my mom is so cute. On the note, she said, if the farrier arrives at an inconvenient time or you have an emergency in the barn, you can go outside. You can use canned yams, and it turns out just as well.
Huh. Who would have thought?
Yeah, my mom made this note on the recipe. So if you need,
that's a horse mom. That's a horse mom right there.
This before.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had no idea that she had done that before. So that is my personal favorite. You could also, if you really wanted to, you could use a mixer to mix everything together and make it really smooth. The other thing that I'm just going to throw out there that I think would be very good is a little bit of bourbon in the yams.
Oh, yeah, that would be good, actually.
I'm just saying.
It's going to actually provide a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah, I think it would be delicious. Just toss a little. So that was the only thing that I'm going to see if I can update this year and put a little bourbon in there. And I think
you live in Kentucky. It's required.
It is. Yeah. I know. And well, I think, obviously my mom was, we do have some little mini peepers running around, but I think if you put it in before and you can bake it, it will be delicious. And then the children will be very quiet and good. I'm just saying. This is why I'm not a parent. So anyway, so that is, Glenn, my favorite side dish. I love yams. So yeah. How about you, Glenn? What's your favorite side?
Oh, I still think the stuffing. I still like a good stuffing with I just love stuffing. And, we were talking about it the other day. You never make homemade stuff. You might make the box kind, right? But you might make stovetop, but you never make good homemade stuffing anytime but Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yes.
I don't know why, because it's so good, but you just never do.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
Speaking of Paula Deen, I'll tell you what we did the one year. We had a Paula Deen Thanksgiving, and we went back to her decadent recipes.
Oh, yeah.
And this was years ago, and we had company coming over, and she actually made fried stuffing. So what you do is you take the stuffing and you cook it in the pan like normal, not in the turkey, but in the pan. So it comes out a little solid. There's a little less liquid.
Yeah.
And it's, it would normally be dry, but then you take the stuffing and you cut it into chunks and then you put batter over it and you deep fry it.
Of course you do.
Yes.
That's got to be amazing.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no calories in that. And then also she took, and we still do this to this day, it's like candy. You take the canned gelatinous kind of cranberry sauce, the kind I like, not with any chunks. I like the smooth kind. And you freeze it. You cut it into slices and you put it in the freezer overnight. Then you take and you batter that and deep fry it.
No.
And it comes out like candy. It really does.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, when I come to visit, we have to try that.
Deep fried cranberry sauce. It's really good.
Are you serious? That's amazing.
Yes, it was really good.
We do a homemade cranberry sauce, and then also the one out of the can. We get both. It is awesome.
Well, people are polar on that. They'll eat one or the other. They're going to eat a chunky one or they're not going to eat a chunky one, right? Yeah. I mean, there's no compromise with cranberry sauce.
Yeah, it's so true. I go for both. I really do. I like them both. I like cranberries. Anyway, I like everything cranberry. And then actually my dad does a cocktail during the day, when you're hanging out. Usually I feed the horses, so I'm like the last member of the family. Usually Travis has even left me. I'm here by myself and I have to feed everybody, which everybody who owns a barn understands, because I do try to give my staff, they usually come in the morning and have everything ready, and then I'll come back around and go ahead and feed. So I'm always the last one in, and my dad always has like cranberry juice and a little sparkling wine or champagne. It's delicious. And he always has it for me. And so, because I love cranberry, and he just, kind of half and half or however, or 3/4 and juice. I mean, a little bit of juice on top. But it's fantastic. So that is the drink my dad makes us. And we have that as we're kind of hanging out.
I think anything with champagne's good.
I know, but a little cranberry juice is so delicious. So,
yeah.
But sounds like you guys are going to have an amazing Thanksgiving. And we are going to have to try that. I'm super excited about that deep fried cranberry. I would never have thought to do
Pauline, that. Well, there you go. You got a side recipe and an alcohol recipe. What more do you need?
That's basically
yams and champagne cocktail. There you go.
And the tip on the pumpkin pie. I'm just saying. Pumpkin pie. Read the can and do that.
And a new way to deep fry your stuffing, just to make it even better for you. That's right. The average Thanksgiving meal, the average person consumes 4,500 calories on Thanksgiving Day.
Glenn.
But they don't count because it's a holiday.
Yeah, Glenn, don't ruin it. Come on.
Well, Reese and I are going to be back next week. We have a couple of great guests for you as well next week. We are going to have Hillary Moore-Hebert from Dressage Today talking about being a mommy.
I know, it's great. It's a really cool conversation, and I think everyone will enjoy it.
And then we have Kathy Robertson, who is an Education Department Manager for the USDF, giving us an update on the USDF Convention and the USDF Trainers Conferences coming up. That'll all be on next week's show. See, we can do it without Philip.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, it's not as good, but we can do it.
No, it's not as technical. Right. It's just not as technical.
Yeah. No, it's a little... But you know what? It's Thanksgiving. Who wants to be
Exactly. So you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email, and remember, we love emails and Facebook shout-outs, but my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
And don't forget, head on over to horseradionetwork.com or Dressage Radio Show or dressageradio.com and click on the banner in the middle of the page for the Radiothon. Get your voicemails in or call us live that day on November 30th. We want you to be eligible to win all those prizes. We'll see you, Reese.
All right, everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you next week.